This is Henares, making your day with the first part of an article I wrote on the militarization of our democracy. And I quote, "Most of the problems of today's democracies are their military. In Indonesia, in Thailand, Korea, Angola, Nigeria, Guatemala, Argentina, Haiti, and many unfortunate countries, they violate human rights with impunity and persecute without due process political dissidents in behalf of the CIA and half-assed dictators. In the Philippines, what was a small, disciplined, and patriotic force of 60,000 soldiers before martial law became an unwieldy 260,000 soldiers that used up a third of government revenues, took over civilian jobs, and harbored criminal elements that robbed banks, carnapped cars, provided murder for hire, killed and mutilated the enemies of Marcos and the United States. After martial law, the military that helped depose this dictator remained intact and very vocal about what it wants for the country. It became politicized, sabotaging the peace talks with dissidents, staging several attempts at coups d'etat, some plotting to bring back the dictator, others terrorizing voters into electing anti-communist goons into office, endorsing the low-intensity conflict of the United States, the bloodbath doctrines of the lunatic fringe, supporting the retention of the American bases in the Philippines, and above all, betraying a persistent desire to institute emergency measures to deal with the emergency. More about this after these messages. This is Henares making your day with the part 1 of the militarization of our democracy. And I continue to quote, "Due to the loyalty of Defense Secretary Fidel Ramos and the even-handed rule of President Corazon Aquino, our democracy has prevailed. But 3 lessons were derived from our experience with our military. Number 1 is the realization that the soldier is by necessity of his calling the antithesis of a democratic citizen. For a soldier must submit to the disciplines of a rigid military organization that is essentially dictatorial and non-democratic. All their lives, soldiers took orders and gave orders without doing any thinking in between, which we citizens are called upon to do. Theirs is not to reason why, theirs but to do or die, according to the poet Lord Alfred Tennyson in his Charge of the Light Brigade. Soldiers are necessary to protect us, democratic citizens, from our enemies. But who will protect us from our protectors when they abuse us?" Second is what President Aquino said to his soldiers. He said, "Your only job is to fight our enemies. Your only obligation is to fight well. Leave politics to the civilians." What he meant to say is that as a soldier, you must submit to civilian supremacy. Do not argue with us with a gun in your hand. If you want to argue, lay down your arms and be a civilian. Then argue with us in open, free, and unlimited debate. Number 3 is that the military is being paid and armed by the people for one reason only: to uphold the majesty of the law and the human rights of Filipino citizens. When dissidents violate human rights, they commit a culpable crime and must be caught and punished by the police and the military. When the military, however, violates human rights, there is no force extant that can punish them. When the military violates human rights, it is not only a crime, it is a travesty of the majesty of the law. Worse, it is a betrayal of the people's trust. It is treason. Such is the stuff of which coups d'etats are made. It deserves no amnesty. It cries out for justice, not mercy. And certainly, notwithstanding what General Jose Almonte declares, except for a few, military men are far less qualified than civilians in running a democratic government. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, Hasta la bye-bye.